Hello, looks like we got a couple of people in here, and we'll be able to get more maybe as we go, but I'll go ahead and start now. Hi everybody, this is Heather Van Wild with Raindrop Works. So yeah, I've had this story that I did some quick fact checking when the story first came out. Saw some huge issues and really felt like more questions need to be asked. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and start off with, this story came out October 25th, so a little under a week ago. KATU News claimed that a Portland man filed a lawsuit against the city last week for allegedly not enforcing the law when it comes to illegally parked RVs on city streets. The court's dismissing it 2 days later. Taking a look at the article itself, supposedly the court said that the plaintiff's allegations were without any basis in law of fact, with a citation in the lawsuit stating that the city towed RVs from one street to another, not warning people in the neighborhood, and that because they weren't enforcing laws, the city is giving permission for unlawful action. Basically, they are trying to criminalize homelessness. In this case, it seems to be particularly RV camping. We know that unhoused individuals in Portland are a significant crisis going on right now. We have numerous incidences and issues of police and city resources being used to sweep homeless camps, which the city takes offense with the term sweep. But all it really is the city comes in, wrecks a camp, destroys a lot of people's personal belongings, possibly their life savings, forcing people to start off all over in another place, usually within a mile of where the camp was. So instead of addressing the root cause of what's causing the homelessness and getting people housed, they're just moving the problem from one neighborhood to another and back. So, when I saw this, at first glance, it's like, okay, this is nice to know that the court dismissed it. There were questions asked by people in the tweet comments about the unusualness of, as we can see here, the story was corrected to reflect the case was dismissed on October 20th, 2 days after the initial suit was filed, which means it would have been filed around the 18th. A few really odd things about that. First off, it is very rare for a judge to dismiss a lawsuit that fast. Usually there has to be some very strong defect to be able to even get to that point. Adding in that usually the way that a civil lawsuit like this would work is the lawsuit is filed, the money is paid for the filing fee, the other party gets served, and then they make their response, and then at that point is when a judge normally starts getting involved in motions hearings and such. So that was one of the first things that piqued my interest. The only reasons that I could think of, without being a lawyer, without knowing the case in particular, is if somebody was filing, possibly with a fee waiver or deferral that would have a judge looking more at a case before it's actually being processed. But the timeline, everything that I saw here just did not make sense. But based on everything that I saw here, I said, okay, there should be a case in the court system that I can go and look up. And this should be something that I can do very easily and help get information to people who are asking for more questions. I tried, and I found nothing. And that, raised even more red flags to me. I even, as I said here, it's so threadbare of facts that I couldn't verify a single tidbit of the case. No verification of the case exists. No verification it was dismissed. I even went so far as to send a message to KATU saying, please give me more information about this story. I'm trying to better understand it, and I don't want to say that you're making up stories out of thin air. This would have been the 25th of October, and we are now at, the 31st, 6 days later. I never got a response from them. Honestly, I didn't expect to. I've tried to reach out to them about different things before, never gotten a response. So, that wasn't entirely surprising, but I had to make the attempt. You're perfectly fine, Rev. Things are pretty quiet. I'm just talking about this local story here. So yeah, going back again, the claim is that the person sued the city themselves, and the suit also named Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler and the city commissioners. So we have, you look at the city website, we have Mayor Wheeler, we have Commissioner Maps, Commissioner Rubio, Commissioner Hardesty, and Commissioner Ryan. So we have 5 individuals that were supposedly sued, plus the city. When they are listed in a court docket, to the extent the system will let them, they will list the names of every person that is sued. There is a chance with this many people, they may have to use a catch-all at the end in the court system. But I can still search a lot of that. So, first thing I do, I have my Oregon case system. Looking for civil cases. We're going to start off looking for the city of Portland. Now, this is something that I do frequently when I'm reporting on, say, police brutality lawsuits or a lot of, any of my government transparency stuff. This city is the entity being sued, so this is where I look. Now, we know that based on the story, the case was supposedly filed October 18th and dismissed October 20th. I went ahead and started looking for any case filed with the city of Portland as a member from September 1st on. If I try to search the entire record, there's just way too many cases. But September 1st, that gives almost 2 months extra time in case there was pre-filing stuff that caused a delay, which I have seen if somebody had to file for a fee deferral before they could file the actual complaint. So, we have a list here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit, just to make it easier to see. Court cases are always set up that the person doing the first filing is the first person listed. So we are looking for somebody who is a person suing the city of Portland, Mayor Wheeler, and the commissioners. As we can see here, now we have a Cisco v. City of Portland and Cumston Brothers. That is not the commissioners. And also the 27th. That's after what we're looking for. Any of these City of Portland versus we can ignore because that's the city filing a case against somebody else. Sean Varga versus Portland and the Railroad Company, that's not going to be relevant. Howard Dietrich versus City of Portland. Okay, so we got, this is September 21st. It's possible, but this case has not been dismissed. It's whatever this case is has been filed. And we actually see proof of service to Attorney General Rosenblum, that's something that's actually going to the state as well. And I did look at this case at the time and didn't see anything that could be relevant. Todd Jope versus a bunch of unrelated individuals, State of Oregon, Revenue Bureau. This is a foreclosure case, nothing to do with what we're looking at. City of Portland, John Doe's. This was a case that, yes, it got closed, but removal to USDC. It got sent to the U.S. District Court. It's in federal court, so presumably this case is still active. And we keep going back further. Broadway Project versus City of Portland. This was something where it appears that a petition for writ of mandamus from September 2nd, which is significantly farther back. So let's go ahead and take a look. This is a pretty thick file here, but again, Broadway Project, this is an issue about marijuana regulatory license application. Definitely not what we're looking for here either. And we just keep going back. Yes, the city will sue currency and vehicles. This is the first time I've seen it against a vehicle, but I've seen it against currency, and all I can tell is it's some sort of seizure process that the city is doing. At some point, I should probably try to investigate those more and figure out, that could be a story in and of itself. But anyway, these are all cities suing other individuals. So we've gone back 2 months, for a story that supposedly happened in the last 2 weeks. Cannot find anything. No filing, no dismissal, no nothing. Okay. So we'll go ahead and look again, but this time see if we can find anything where the mayor was sued. I'm going to do similar searches, but anyone T * Wheeler, because Ted Wheeler is not actually his name. Okay, we have a landlord-tenant issue going on there, but that appears to be, landlord-tenants are usually evictions, and that also was not Mayor Wheeler. I keep going to the wrong one. Search for Mingus Maps. Oh, looks like somebody with that name had a divorce back 5 years ago. Obviously not what we're looking for. Carmen Rubio. Now, and at this point, we can just search for everyone, because when we're not talking about the city, some sort of insurance dispute, 25, 30 years ago, judging by that. Not something that we're particularly interested in. 3 city officials down, 2 to go. Out of 7 searches, we're not finding anything. Joanne Hardesty. And again, I'm doing wildcard searches because I'm trying to draw the largest the largest search that I can find. The last thing we have here is some sort of a contract dispute against a Joe A. Hardesty specifically. Not saying that it's necessarily Commissioner Hardesty, but January 13th, 2021. Obviously not what we're looking for. We have one name left. Commissioner Dan Ryan. Again, doing a wildcard search to throw as wide a net as we can. possibly too wide of a net, but we do have, let me see, how many filings was this? Okay, I'm going to filter this one just a little bit. I think the name is just a little too common. And while I think that I did get the full list, I want to make sure. So I'm going to go ahead and search. June 1st it just happens to be a date that I have saved because of a lot of lawsuits that I've been focused on were filed sometime after that because of the police brutality cases with the George Floyd protests. So, looking for anything with this name after June 1st, 2020. Okay. Yeah. The last city case dealing with Dan Ryan was specifically against the city and Dan Ryan filed in May and is currently on hold until November. This is, again, not the case we're looking for. So, this entire paragraph here, filed lawsuit against the city, named the mayor and the commissioners. I can find absolutely no record of this. Now, yes, it's possible the lawsuit was sealed. That is highly unusual, though. Particularly, I've only personally seen it dealing with criminal lawsuits, or criminal cases, and that's only at the indictment phase. For instance, Alan Swinney, when he was first charged, it was a secret indictment until after he was arrested. Then the indictment was unsealed and we could see everything. Mike Reinell was another case. He was charged with a secret indictment, and after he was killed by cops in Lacey, Washington, his was unsealed as well. There could be, reasons for a civil case to be sealed, or at least portions of it sealed, in a particularly contentious case for privacy of parties. A case being dismissed at this stage seems a lot less likely to be sealed. So, while I can't say that there is no record of, or that there is no case, I can't find any proof of it, and it seems much more likely than not that there is no record of it. So because of that, we can't prove that the court dismissed a lawsuit. We have no proof of the lawsuit reporting a recent incident by KATU. No proof of the lawsuit claims. No proof confirming the order of dismissal. And, I could try to reach out to the city to see what comments KATU filed, but considering there is no follow-up to that in here, I suspect they didn't respond to KATU, and I really don't expect them to respond to me either. So, I did ask the question of KATU, and saying, can you give me more information, because I don't want to say that you're making the story up out of whole cloth, or the person that told you the story. And keep in mind, we don't even have a name of the person who supposedly filed this lawsuit. The only thing we know is that this is, supposedly a male, and lives in Portland. That's, okay, you've narrowed it down to about 50% of the city. Yeah, it's just, and it is worth pointing out, yes, KATU is, one of those mega conglomerate news agencies that has a tendency to have a story they want to tell. Unfortunately, at this point, this feels like more of proof that the story that they're trying to tell is truly a story. If I hear back from KATU or we see more information about this story, get something that can be verified, then I will definitely come back and revisit this. But in the meantime, I got nothing to work off of. I got no way to prove that this is a real story, and more than enough evidence to show that this is almost certainly a fake story. And if they're going to make up a story out of this, what else are they making up a story out of? We, as a society, count on local media to be, if not unbiased, to at least be truthful in their stories. Because that is how most people learn about what is happening in their city and how they can advocate for the changes they want to see in their city. All I can see from this article, especially this headline, is they're trying to drive a wedge between the city residents and, if not our city leaders in and of themselves, then the justice system that we use to adjudicate these legal claims. And that is definitely of concern to me, and I feel like should be of concern to a number of other people. That said, I'm going to go ahead and drop things off here for now. If you like the work that we're doing or trying to do and hopefully doing more of, links are in the description. Feel free to like, subscribe, follow our channels. You have donation options available. But in the meantime, definitely have a good night, everybody. Take care, be safe. Happy Halloween.